Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. I'm very excited. It's my first time in Porto. Never been so north in Portugal. So thank you very much for hosting me very nicely so far. And thank you for staying that late. I've been told by my speaker colleagues, this is called the graveyard hour. So, well, I hope you all be alive after that. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about analyzing problems and how to transfer seeing a spec, and you want to get the best test cases you want for your challenge, should I say. But first thing first. So a little bit about me. I'm coaching and consulting for the last 30 years in IT worldwide, and like it very much. Interested about how teams work effectively and efficiently, and how we can improve all the time, which is very important, and not just in a specific area. I mean, today in the agile world, I think the border between developers, testers, infrastructure guys, we are all working more than ever working together. So we should be looking at ourselves as one team, actually. So I'm keen on people and ideas. Never get a chance to do some networking, well, not as I wanted in this conference, but I hope some people will stay and we can talk after my talk. And of course, husband to 3 loves. No, this is wrong. Probably this one is better. Yeah, I think it's a problem to handle one. So, and yeah, which today on my birthday they don't see me, but I'm here with you, and that's a really good party. So, first I want to introduce a few things from experience and life. So no agenda here, just fun. This one is actually where I collect things from the world. So in Agile, we write user stories. It's one way to write your requirements. And as I'm going through hotels around the world, so as a guest of the hotel, I would like to know precisely which juices I drink for breakfast. What does that mean? Well, it means that I'm the crazy guy in the morning that is going to photocopy the juices area, and then the people in the breakfast room, they start to say maybe I'm the secret reviewer of the chain of hotel, looking for flaws and bugs in their system, which I'm not. I'm just enjoying myself. But anyway, please try to guess where it is from. This one in the world. Where's that from? What do you think? Just shout. Hey? Okay. What's that? Where's that from? US. Okay, where's that from? I mean, it's small, but, Brazil. Okay. Where's that from? Okay. That one? Little jars of glass. Okay. This one? Yeah? Come on. They're all look the same, huh? This one? Okay, let me tell you, reveal. Okay, this is France, Paris. Very nice hotel, Mercure. No, I'm not getting commission. It's very close to the Eiffel Tower, so it's very convenient. This one is Rome, Italy, where this has a story. And I came to try this one. I wanted orange juice. This is not orange juice. I swear to God. No residuals, but this is not orange juice. I'll skip that. This is Vilnius, Lithuania, Nuremberg. This is Lisbon. Okay, nobody hit that. This is Riga, and the last one is just this morning. So I skipped that deliberately because that's Tokyo, Japan. And that's the perfect requirement implementation for me. And who wants to know why? Who can guess? Yes? Right, exactly. Thank you. Go out. No, you're fine. But the idea behind it is that, you know, they thought about a different dimension, right? So if I'm a 4-year-old and I can't read, then I can, you know, drink the right juice. I mean, I could read, and I hit it wrong, right? And also, if you are, you know, from some age, you can't read so well. So that's also very good. I come from Israel. In Israel, we say that, you know, a little boy will come and take the apple, and that's it. But, you know, they hit the mark for me. They're looking on things from all different perspectives. And that's very, very good when you're doing such projects. So this is another bug? Yes, expected. Do we have developers in the crowd? Would you design this error message? I mean, so yeah, maybe the JavaScript compilation error, with that it's expected. But, you know, and then if you look very deep inside, you see a semicolon after the expected, so expected semicolon. So the bug is really a usability issue, because the color of the expected character is not seen on the screen so much. Yeah, so UI, UX is big today, so that's one of those. Best car rental service. I was going to Norway to train in a conference, and I hit this rental company after walking 15 minutes and stopped because I was very tired. And I saw this nice Mercedes, you know, car. But unfortunately, the name of the company is Always, but the abbreviation for the Norway is NO. Always No. Would you rent a car from a company saying Always No? I don't know. It's a different kind of bug. It's a mega bug. So, and you know, on the Mercedes is always saying yes as a car, right? So anyway, last one is this one, America. Yeah, very nice coated, milk-coated raisins. Some of you might know it from the internet if you look inside. Very nice package. So, yeah, I mean, would you eat after you see that? That's hilarious. Yes. So that's something else. Never saw that before. So to the boring stuff. Well, first I want to speak about the motivation a little bit, going through suggested a framework of how to optimize, how to reach specs, and to get optimized test cases, and then present a very short case study because of the hour, and then summarize and let you go home, or throw things at me and then you go home. So let's start. So you receive the specification document, and then what? Yeah, so, you know, how many of you are testers? Okay, pretty bunch. How many of you have been to a course of how to transfer specification to test cases? 2, 3, 4. Okay. Yeah? You don't see that. It's the big white elephant in a China shop, right? Everybody needs it. Nobody discusses it maybe enough. Yeah, we have to analyze specifications. But we all know that exhaustive testing is not possible. So the poor guy is really exhausted now. So we need something else. And we need to know how to analyze the specs in a very efficient way and create the best test case set that we want. Who has unlimited resources and time? I said no government here. Well, most of us don't. So we work risk-based, and we have to optimize. We don't have a choice, do we? And we need to know what risks are involved, right? I mean, having risks is okay. I believe no risks is the biggest risk. So if you handle your business with no risks, that's the biggest risk. You need to take some risks to go fast. I was talking to a colleague about how certification should change, and that means we have to take risks. So let's see a little bit about the process pillars, or what I'm suggesting. So in the base, we find a few things, specifications. We analyze those to find parameters and values, which I'll explain in a short while. And of course, we can't do without the dependencies and risks. From all of that, we should produce the optimization that we want. Sounds simple. Well, for complex systems, it is not, right? So, the suggested framework, we start with reading the specs, of course. And after that, we fast forward to understanding the parameters. Then we should also collect parameters and values, map the dependencies, collect them all together after we identify risks, define our scenario map. On that we work and optimize. We optimize the first stage, which I'll show you what we do, and we build the test set plus the dependencies, optimize again. And the last thing we do is, of course, to verify coverage. Because at the end of the day, optimization can be our worst enemy if we are neglecting the risks. How many of you come from a medical company? No one. So we have a suggestion for the organizers for next year. Please invite medical companies. Well, in medical companies, the safety issue is critical, right? And so if you optimize and you get a very low number of test cases, that may be very, very, very bad for you. Yeah? So we have to take care. So let's start. Reading specifications. So specifications come in many shapes: email, document, a piece of paper, a meeting, and we read them carefully. We also have to write down the notes and close down the gaps. So many times you find yourself speaking to product and to R&D to close the gaps on the knowledge, because they are not very black and white. Yeah? There are things happening there, and they change. And the last thing we want to do after we close the gap is just review them again and mark the parameters that we want. Now, what parameters are? Well, parameters is very simple, actually. They are fields, and they have values. And the parameters for me, a parameter for me, is something that if I choose one value over the other, that will change the scenario the user is doing now. Okay? So some examples may be weight. So I change the number of kilograms, then something else happens. Measuring units, whether it's meters, centimeters, whatever. Temperature, customer type, all these kind of parameters, they span the domain of test cases I can do as a user. And that's important for both business, product, and camera salesman. Well, now. So, I think parameters are very easy to spot and identify within a spec, most of the times. And they are not so much hidden. Sometimes what is hidden are the values. And, but when you take care of parameters, sometimes you don't want to take some of them. And some of them are generated from the system, or they are just, not so important. And we want to reduce that because they are not setting up how a user is going to go through and navigate through the system. So we don't care at this aspect. So values are really very easy, different choices we can make, and we go through a different if then else, whatever, eventually. Yeah? And of course, some examples. The kilograms and grams are actual values of weighting unit, etc. Fahrenheit, Celsius are the values of temperature, units, etc. Okay? Nothing, it's no rocket science. So, map dependencies. So map dependencies are actually the relationship between values that belongs to different parameters. And we have those very easily spotted. It's the logic that connects one to the other. Setting a class, class type, economy, business, and first. From date and to date have a relationship, right? So the from date cannot be bigger than the to date, even though they can be the same. Customer type, preferred guest, maybe is getting a room from 10th floor and up. I don't know what the rule in the hotel is, but that's kind of a relationship that we are built into our applications and systems. And that's finishing up the parameters and values that we have. And this is just a different representation of parameters and values. In today's world, we use a lot the model-based testing or the model-based development. And this is just a project I'm doing now for a medical company, which you will see also a case study on. So this is defining the parameters and values and dependencies between the different aspects of the system. Okay, and last but not least, the inputs we need is risks. So they can be many things, right? So they can be critical or complex features. They can be low quality of code coming from a not so matured unit test or integration test. There can be a lot of things. Or safety issue with a medical company. So a lot of risks there. And you find many risks which are not product related, but on that aspect, we don't care about those. We care about the product ones, not the project ones. I don't have time. I don't have resources. These are not the ones we are looking for. So we have to identify those in order not to jeopardize our software while we are doing the optimization. Okay? So, sorry it is very small for you guys back there, but I'll explain what the meaning of it, okay? So scenario map means you have a few things there. So first of all, you have the parameters here and the values. So a parameter is a measuring unit, and then you see the measuring unit values. Dosing unit, this is a blood infusion pump example. So grams, milligrams, etc. We put 2 out of 3 parameters to the pump: rate, volume to be infused, and time. And the third one is calculated, etc., etc., etc. So I'll be working on this example to show you. If you do the multiplication of the values to test all, right, which is exhaustive testing, you'll find it to be almost 1,500 test cases, which we don't think we need. So how about what we do? We write the dependencies. So this one is only if the set secondary by technician is yes. And you write the dependencies above. Sometimes you have more than one dependency, so you put a few lines over there. And this is the time we can optimize. We have all the information needed so far, and we can start to optimize. We can start optimize by taking out less critical parameters, okay? So for example, we can take the prime. Prime is when you are washing the tube of the pump before you do the infusion. Don't forget that priming have 2 values, yes and no, which means that you are doubling the test cases by 2 if you do Cartesian multiplication. So you don't want that. So just by taking prime out, instead of 1,400 or 1,500 test cases, you can go to a half, right? But you can optimize also values. So if you say, okay, but the parameters are all important. Yeah, so you can also take out values which are less critical inside parameters. Yeah. In this case, we took out less commonly used dosing units. There are 37 dosing units today in a blood infusion pump at this company. And I've taken 3 to 5, which are most commonly used, just to show how we can optimize. That with the prime gives us already 15% of the test cases. Okay? Now, you will say, Alan, you know what? But this is not reality. We never calculate what is all. Well, I'm saying here that it's important to know what is all and what we are giving up, because that is giving us the chance to visualize the risk. Yeah? If we don't theoretically even calculate what is all, then we don't know. And also, we are not involving in the process the product man or the product team. Usually we involve the R&D team in this technical optimization. So what I'm saying is, if we know the whole picture and we optimize using those, and in the process we are consulting with product, then the risks are visible. Okay? And this is what we did in this company. So we optimize, and how it's going to be looking like. So prime is becoming one option, and then also dosing units we have reduced to 3. And the secondary, we are joining those. Instead of 4 options, we now have 2. And that reduces from 1440 to 216 test cases. And it's important not losing sight of the risk. So we are comfortable with the risk there. We build the combinations. So it's like a summary of all that has been done so far. And we build this metric very easily. You can just produce a very small macro to take the previous Excel and do that very easily. And then we optimize again. And in this optimization, we are already using tools. Because I gave you maybe a simple example. In real life, you may hit a few million options reduced to a few 100,000, which is not feasible to do yet, right? So we are counting on statistics. Either we can use pairwise, we can use cause effect graphing, which is what I showed you before the model-based testing tool is doing. It's doing a model-based testing using cause effect graphing, classification trees analysis tools, etc., etc. And we optimize that even more. So, are you going to run these thousands of test cases now? Well, one of the answers I got is, do I look like an idiot? So let's have a look. I hope everything works. Oh, wait.
Well, sometimes doctors make mistakes. Anna, you need to try twice as hard to fix them. Are you using your inhaler?
All the time.
Let's start
My
again.
asthma. They said they'd fix it, but it didn't make any difference at all.
Well, sometimes doctors make mistakes. Anna, you need to try twice as hard to fix them. Are you using your inhaler?
All the time. Go through one a week.
You sure you're using it right?
Do I look like an idiot?
No. Why don't you show me how your inhaler works?
Well, yes. So, we never know how, I always tell this story because we never know how users use our products, right? We never know. I mean, we have instructions, big user manuals, online help, implementers, guys that come and help us, but we never know. I have a friend who bought a computer software package for his son, who is 9 or 10 at the time, and installed it in a family room and just played with it to see it works. And went away, and the kid is working with that, and after a minute or two, he hears music. Stops. Okay, and he hears again. And it stops. So he goes to the room to see what his son is doing, and the guys at this app did a very good job, because when it's uploading, then it's have an animation of guys loading to the truck oranges. And when it's finished loading, then game starts. But his son liked the animation. So whenever the animation stops, he press X and start again. So we don't know how the users use the software, really, like in this case as well. So last but not least, no, we're not going to do thousands of test cases because we're not idiots, and because there are means to do more with less. Yeah? So I urge, who is using a pairwise with Picket by Microsoft? No one? Any other doing optimization of test design using tools? Okay. The rest of you come to me in the break. Okay. Yeah, when I speak about test automation, people say execution, execution, execution. Well, not necessarily. Test automation can also be automating your test design or your test planning aspects or whatever. So we must look on a broader view for that. So now we have potential minimal set, and we need to check with product that we're not jeopardizing anything on the product level, but also we have to see that the minimal set was really translated in the right way and not forgetting any of the risks, right? This is very critical, and this is very important. Now, this was the last step of the process. So we are making adjustments if we need, and we're done. Yeah? So are we done? I don't know. Well, we're done with the optimization maybe process, but we're still left with how to proceed with our test process improvement for the long term. And my idea is, of course, to automate. Now, I'm not saying that when you reduce the set to be very minimal, that's the only thing you are going to run. What I'm suggesting is that you use it as your priority first, priority one test case set. So maybe use that as your sanity. Or maybe use that as your, when we don't have time enough, this is what we're going to run. If we have time, by all means, do more. Yeah? If the risk is high, by all means, do more. Yeah? If you automate many things, do everything. I don't think it's a problem. Even though I think in testing you don't have superlatives so much. So we don't use the words all the time, everything, never, not so much. Shades of gray, this is our business. So we run the set, we make sure everything works okay, and we make sure that some of the things there are automated and are adding value, and then we try it, it works, so we can put it inside our process. So, to show you a very short case study, it's very similar to what you saw till now, but with additional background story about the company. So this is the device. You have the size, because you see a keyboard here, so you know the size. There's a telephone, so you know the size of it. And these are blood infusion pump, very high tech, complex, very rich functionality, very lightweight, which is one of the benefits of that, long battery duration, and high accuracy. It's working with magnetic fingers to control every drop. So you can really be very accurate on what you infuse. It's monitored by hospital control center, so it's using Wi-Fi. Can be used at home, so it's dual to a nurse, very professional, and to non-professional people. And of course, they're doing that 15 manual testers, 8 are new, and 3 automation engineers that were doing the job. And the high scope change rate is very critical because this is the environment they are in. And also, they have very tight deadlines. So when a big hospital calls from the US and say, we want this and that feature, you really can't say no so much because the hospital can take a few thousand pumps in one purchase. Okay, that's money. So the business needs are here, and the resources are here, and the challenge is here. What I've done with especially with the new testers, we did a session about how to optimize. And after a few hours of training and exercises, they took a real spec. And this is a new guy analyzing a spec of a stop hard key functionality, which is very important. It's like an emergency brake on the train, right? So you want to stop the infusion right away if something happens. So he analyzed the parameters and the values and the dependencies between them, and he started to optimize. So removing technician value, and he had his reasons, which I'll not, get inside all of the decisions behind it. And then he said, okay, the alarm volume minimum is not so much needed. Maximum comes from the factory, so that is off. And so on and so forth. Uncommon time formats, that's not the main point of this test. And so on and so forth. Also, scenarios, you can hit this stop hard key from more than 50 screens within the pump, but we reduced that to the most commonly used scenarios. We first thought it's 5, but then we enlarged it to be 9. So even with that small optimization, we reduced from 17,000 to really nothing, 210. And of course, you can play with that rate because there are boundaries here. So you can put the boundaries and have four samples instead of 2, just to test the boundaries. So it's okay also to enlarge because you have to eventually, as I said to my students all the time, to use the head, cabeza. We have to use it. So we can enlarge to reduce risk. It's allowed, it's good, everybody loves it. So eventually we got this frame of test cases, and well, we changed that to 9, as I said, so it became 378. And then we went, of course, to talk to product, discussing risks, see if we have a safety issue from what we have reduced, seeing that we are in the safe side, and continuing with the phase 2 of optimization, which is to run it via the pairwise. We got 63 instead of 378, so reducing it really a lot. This is just the code you write in Picket, and this is a sample of the test cases you get out of that. We are using there Microsoft TFS with MTM, so we have uploaded those test cases right away inside the MTM, and that's it. But we worked on it, of course. There's a plugin we had to build, but these test cases can be uploaded right away. And the idea behind it is that you are working through a process which lets you optimize. The framework is only making sure there's no real rocket science there. it's just helping us to do the right thing in the right time and take care of the risks and making sure that everything is in place. And I urge you to take some, well, Picket is free, msdn.com. You can download. If you don't find it, you can send me a mail. I'll send you that, and it's free. There are more commercial tools which are doing an excellent job visualizing things like classification trees, Testona, and others. Chrysler has a tool which I think was transferred into commercial tool as well, but this is more a big tool, so you'll need a small tool to do the job. And we are now in the process of automating those with a platform. So this will be used to set up the building blocks for the automation platform. We have many other challenges there. Automating embedded software means you have to take care of timeouts and synchronization and many other stuff, intrusiveness to the hardware, and all these other things. But we are getting there. So it's in process. I'll come next year to report. Okay? So, to summarize, analyzing specifications with the aim of optimizing, it's like the min-max rule for me. So minimum test cases with maximum impact. This is what we need in the testing business. So this is one way of doing it. Just sharing my experience with you. I'm not saying it works for you. I'm just saying it's worth trying. Yeah? It's worth piloting. It's worth looking at it. Yes, that's all. And so this framework can help you with, having a framework and process to know where to do what to take care of, what are the risks in this process, what to take care of with product, what to take care of with R&D, and using optimization tools. As I saw, most of you are not doing it, so get familiar with those tools. They're excellent to work with. And that's it, I guess. Show you with a case study how to start. And it doesn't need a lot of knowledge to start. The case study is done by a junior tester. So, just fresh from a testing course, his first job, a few hour session, and he knows how to break down the spec. So it's not so hard to do. And of course, we have data analysis for every feature and scenario that we have in the pump. Well, to leave you with an inspiration, so the secret of change is to focus all your efforts, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. And I think it's all about what you're doing today here in Porto, with this conference, actually. And I see many things. I spoke to some of you, and I see this trend of innovation and good wind, supported by City Hall. It's excellent. And keep on building the new. And I thank you very much.